take this off. What do you think this is, Nick? Do you think this is a non-permanent lifestyle change that I've adopted right now? That I said, man, we needed to spice up our two guys with spare time NBA podcast. So what better way but to rock the pirate outfit and eat some wheat bix on a Sunday afternoon, right? While we have an NBA final still alive, man. 3-1. Celtics, did Celtics choke, or are they just going home to wrap it up at home, man? What do you think, hey?
I really thought that. So, game four rolls around, Dallas down 3-0. I feel like both of us probably assumed Dallas would have got game three, had that big response game and made it a bit competitive. But they didn't in game four. They beat them by 42 or 40. Like, it was a massive margin of defeat. The starters were pulled by the third quarter. It was not close. It was never at all close. And yeah, I felt like, did Boston just understand? Like, was it a mental thing of, we're up 3-0, we're supposed to win, historically we win, so we're okay, and they backed off? Or was it even simpler, they just want to win at home? The championship banner, the ceremony, the parade, the celebrations afterwards, is actually just better to do it in Boston because that's where they all live anyway. So, I don't know.
Maybe there's a few factors here. Maybe one that I'd probably like to maybe explore with you right now. The game five, obviously on Tuesday morning my time. I don't know about you. I guess it's Tuesday morning your time too. And Luka obviously having a lot of backlash, I guess, after game three. With look, I guess we played man. Probably not the smartest thing to try and take a charge call when you're already sitting on 5 fouls. He's probably smarter than that. He probably knows that. I had a look at the replay a few times. I think you rarely get a charge call when it becomes a 50-50 call. Maybe you can expand on that, from a referee perspective. But I think the call was right. They reviewed it too, and it obviously stood that it was a blocking foul. But then he then came out and he vowed, after a lot of criticism, obviously from the media, more so than others, that I'm just going to come and play. Yeah, I'm just going to come and play and focus on just playing basketball. And you know what? We're down 3-0 now. What else is there to lose? And I guess that was an important change of mindset. And then they grabbed game four. And like you said, maybe a bit of that is that, it's always hard to close out. In part, Celtics know, like, they came out, they shot poorly, I think, that first quarter. And they're like, well, look, whatever, we drop this game, we go back home and we try and wrap it up there. So it wasn't the end of the world for them in that sense. But the question here is that if Luka continues to keep this focus, is he good enough to be one of the, to lead the Mavs to a four wins here? I don't know, that because you've seen him take over games before. Yeah, you've seen that happen multiple times now over other playoff series, obviously not in the finals. I don't know. I think the Celtics here could be in still a dangerous situation that's not as smooth sailing as it seems.
There's a lot of things at play here for the Celtics. The Celtics have yet to actually win a championship with this group, and they've fell short many times. They're up 2-1 against the Celtics and then lose. They go down 3-0 against the Heat last year and then still end up losing as it goes back to a game seven. And I think that's probably the stat that people need to remember, is that game sevens have been forced. They haven't been won by the team down by 3-0, but they have been forced. And so when you look at this, Porzingis theoretically out for the series, and if he does come back in, I don't see how they don't target him.
How do they play him with a dislocated tendon or something?
Well, you don't. Really. I think he can play and he'll be in pain.
But why is he even available? It feels stupid that they made him available.
It's 100% gambling odds or tactics. Like, there's been some weird things. The Jason Kidd comment about Jaylen Brown as well. There's these little tactics that they're trying to do to throw each other off. But, you look at the Celtics and Porzingis isn't going to be there. And that was a factor. I think the Bigs felt like they got going in this game as well. You go back to Boston, there'll be a lot of nervous energy to close it out then. And it'll probably be the hardest game to win, because if they lose that game and go back to Dallas, I think Dallas can safely take game six, and then it goes to game seven and it's a one-game series and all that. So I'm going to get you to bear with me here. All right. I'm going to get you to strap in. What if Luka Doncic is about to do what LeBron and Jordan could not do by not only winning an NBA championship, but winning an NBA championship from 3-0 down. I might be a bit out of this world with this take. If I move back from the camera, I lose a bit of focus. But I think
I see you've lost a bit of focus on NBA versus now playing with filters on our chat here, and I feel like I should plug my my little short here. Go check in the description this link to this short and tell me what you think about this, because you basically took my take here. But you know what? When I made this little short, guess what? Jordan was never in a position where he needed to actually come back in such in especially in the finals in that sort of sense. He was never in a position to even have to play a game 7 in the finals. Are you having fun there? Sorry, have we lost comms? Have we lost comms out in outer space? Is that what's going on? Houston. Oh man. You're taking this podcast up to a whole nother level here, Nick.
So I haven't revealed this information for a while, mainly because it's too dangerous in the hands of the general public, but I have been to the future, and if you've got a house, if you've got money for the kids tucked away, put it on the Dallas Mavericks.
Oh no, disclaimer, Nick has not been to the future. Don't bet your whole life savings on I feel like we should take the same Bitcoin disclaimer and apply it to what you just stated there. Past performance may not be a predictor of future performance. So anyway, I think Nick has now gotten addicted to these filters, and we've lost him for the whole NBA topic right now. What's going on now?
No, sorry, I just had to get my headset on. So yeah, look, I think if it was ever going to happen, and history would say it hasn't happened, but it has to. Like, there's no way that the NBA runs its entire course in its lifetime and no one ever pulls this off.
It will happen one day.
If you look at this,
it will happen one day.
It has to.
It will happen one day.
And so why not now? Why not now? When you look at this, you would say, what are you going to say about the Boston Celtics that definitively makes you believe that they will win a one game out of the next 3? Because that is what it's now turned into. And the thing is, Porzingis was their X factor. He's gone, right? Tatum and Brown, pretty inconsistent. Even Drew Holiday in that game 4, having 5 turnovers after having none in the entire series. There are gaps. And Dallas wasn't far. I know people think that after game 1, they just were not evenly matched. They were close in game 2 and they were close in game 3. They were there, right? And that's all you need to be sometimes. And if game 4 is close and Dallas gets it, if game 5 is close and Dallas gets it, it creates this weird pressure. And that's the thing. You know, yes, the team that goes up 3-0 is supposed to win, but they're also not supposed to lose. And they've got to balance that pressure quite carefully, because you lose game 4, all good, you still got game 5. But if you lose game 5, all good, you still got game 6. But once you lose game 6, then it's a one-game series. Anything can happen. And imagine the narrative around Kyrie finally winning in Boston, to basically pull off this comeback. I wouldn't close it out. If you do need me to legally say I'm not from the future, do not put the house on Dallas, then I will do that. But if Sportsbet or, whoever it is wants to sponsor us, I'll say whatever you want me to say. I'm a sellout, I think. So that's all good.
I think there's yeah, look, I think the Celtics is still poised to take care of business, I think. But at the end of the day, Luka is talented enough if he's focused. And haven't we seen this with players? Like, players that are good but not focused. And when you take your energy away, and it's almost disappointing that it took to game 3 and what happened in game 3 for him to be able to refocus that energy, that positive energy into his game, because we know he's that talented, but it just hasn't been the case. And we also know he's not 100%, right? I think he's been getting shots into his knee, painkillers and stuff into his knee. And I don't know, when I sort of read those articles too, is that another part of that excuse that you make that if the Mavs don't get the job done, that, well, he wasn't 100%, that's what happened, that's the case, blah, 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 right? Look, I don't know, man. It's I think the Celtics will still get it done. Don't get me wrong. Okay, I think that's a greater reality, but I think there's still a level of intrigue that, you know, Game 5 is potentially a real must win for Boston. Like you said, you don't probably want to go back to Dallas again and do a Game 6.
I think we're going back to Dallas. We're going back to Texas, buddy.
You're so bad, man. Do you have anything else to add, or are we done with this 10-minute podcast?
I think, look, I think, in all seriousness, I'm glad that we're getting a little bit more time with this series. I don't think you ever want to sweep in the NBA Finals. The last time was the Cavs, and then prior to that was, ironically, the Cavs again. So sweeps don't happen very often, and it very much looked like we were about to get a sweep. I think the logical money or the logical guess would be on, I think Boston wants to win at home. I think they might have come out too lackadaisical and then kind of realized it's just not worth exerting ourselves here. Let them go for it. Because when you're up 3-0, you can do that, right? I like the narrative that Luka and the Mavs can come back here, but they need to win more than one game for that to happen. And, they really need to win the next game. I'm not pointing out the obvious, and what I'm saying is, maybe we'll have that conversation after Game 5 when they've won.
Is there anything else we wanted to add? Actually, I wanted to ask something here. How about the whole Lakers coaching situation, man? What are your thoughts on that, man? Is JJ Redick really the best candidate to pull into that role? Obviously, an ex-player. I love JJ Redick. Obviously, he was a Magic player, and he was, I loved him when he was at the Orlando there. But he's got no head coaching experience. Feels very Steve Nash-like, and we all know how that played out, right? It didn't really, end up well.
Well, I think, I know that there was potentially a little bit of a pay dispute. That was one of the rumors going around. That's why they weren't able to lock it down. And I guess what I'm going to say now publicly for the Lakers, if you'd like a podcaster to do it for less money, give me a call. I would happily relocate for that.
I feel you've offered your services a few times this season, man. Whether as a player, coming off the bench, just needing that, fill that minimum roster spot.
You want to be versatile. You want to be versatile in life, and that's where I'm versatile. I can do a lot of different things. I can miss some threes in the corner. I could get some cardio, and I can coach if you really want me to. Especially if LeBron's going to coach anyone.
Look, I'll play along with this. All right. Let's say you were hired as a head coach for the Lakers, man. What would be your first step that you would apply to your role?
Well, I guess one of the things that I do really well in the Lakers coaching job, one, I think I'm quite funny. So, I create a nice culture around. But I think I get really good. I get really good at the phrase, what do you think? And
so you'd be a player coach. Is that what you're saying? You'd be a player first coach.
I'm not allowed to play. No, but I'd be a player's coach, and be like, this guy really gets us. Like, he just understands what it's like to, be an NBA player, even though he's never been an NBA player. Because basically, I'd ask the phrase, "What do you think?" and I'd direct it towards Mr. LeBron James every single time. And that would be how I'd coach. I'd hand him the board. You know how sometimes Darvin Ham gets, social media clips and it's really derogatory because, LeBron snatched the board off him. Well, that won't happen to me because I'm going to give LeBron the board, right? So there's no reason for there to be hostility or snatching or anything like that. And that's probably what I'm going to bring to the team is that I'll let LeBron, but I'll also be the scapegoat, be like, maybe you shouldn't have hired some random guy from Australia for the head coaching.
I feel like, refresh your memory here, you spent all season bagging how LeBron's abilities are on the decline, which I guess they are, he is getting older. Yet you've just been gifted, let's say 20 million. That's a discount for the Lakers for the next 5 years to lead this franchise. And your best play here, man, is to just give the 40-year-old the coach's board. And is that it? Is that your final pitch you'd like to make to Rob Pelinka and Jeannie Bussier?
90% sure that those contracts, once they're signed, that money is on it. So yeah, that's 100% the play. But if you want me to tell LeBron to, pull his head in, I'll do that as well. For 20 million, you tell me what to do, I'll do it. It's 20 million US. It's actually like 30 million. Are you kidding? In all seriousness, you got to pay
some taxes though. Don't forget the taxes.
Yeah, that's off-site laundering. I think the big thing with the Lakers gig, anyone could have it at this point, and I think we all collectively understand it doesn't really matter. It's not going to change the Lakers' outcomes. I think they got really hot, really lucky when they went all the way to the conference finals. They can't beat Denver, and Denver can't beat Minnesota, and Minnesota can't beat Dallas. And there's a pecking order in the West that, LeBron might be play-in contentious next year as well. But at this point in LeBron's career, he's just setting those records. He's setting the accolades. And AD, I think that was his best season, and it didn't really shift the needle for them. So, the Lakers' job to me isn't very appealing. For the $20 million it is, but for nothing else,
There's a take that's circulating. I think Stephen A said it. Maybe a few of those commentators and media personalities, that this season was a successful season for the Lakers, but they just ran into the Nuggets. And to me, that felt like it suggested that, but the Lakers were going to get past the T-Wolves. Were the Lakers going to get past the Mavs? I don't know. Like, does that, to me, it felt like it's discrediting the fact that these other teams that did advance, even like OKC, are you saying the Lakers would have advanced past OKC if they had faced them in the first round? I don't know if that's the case, man. Like, I think that the Lakers have a lot of work to do. Hurley, the search is still on right now. Dan Hurley turned him down. JJ Redick, to me, doesn't necessarily feel like the best name to pull in, but there's important factors here. And hey, if LeBron likes you, man, then I'm sure they'll call you, right?
Yeah, I know who LeBron knows me. But we talked about that point a little while ago that sometimes we get too fixated on where you finished in the playoffs, right? We have to understand that all 16 teams that enter the NBA playoffs, they don't all have an equal chance to end up with the trophy. And there's tiers within the top 8 on each conference of who's logical to go there, who could pull a shot. And yeah, right, the Lakers go up against OKC, or they go up against Dallas, or they go up against Minnesota. Maybe they beat them, maybe they don't. But all right, let's say they go to the second round or even the third round. It doesn't change their ultimate outcome. They're the Lakers, and they're the LeBron-led Lakers. They're not trying to compete for the playoffs. They're trying to win the championship, and they're not in that caliber, or they're not in that tier. And it's as simple as you said it. It's because their best player, both in terms of usage, but also like fan appeal and draw, is 40 years old. How many 40-year-olds have commanded the salary that he has? When Dirk played his final season, it was on a pretty reduced salary. When Kobe played his, it was on, a bit of a reduced salary. Like, it's not common that your best player is 40 and takes up 50% of your cap.
Well, look, I just put out the schedule here. If we do get to a Game 7, man, for these finals, that will be Monday week. So
Perfect.
it'd be interesting next 7 days to see whether we can get this series back to Dallas and see what happens. And I'm sure you'll have some more out of these world takes, right?
I will play around with some filters as well. I guess in between, if people feel like they want more content, we're streaming some games on Twitch.
Are you picking your handle right now? I don't know. What's your handle?
It's Invincible 666.
I'll put a link for you down the bottom below.
That would be great. That would be great.
And clearly, I'm staying with the trend here because this is two guys with spare time, and I'm one guy with spare time, and this is clearly Invincible 666. So I guess we'll see you online next time.